Bonus time. Okay, so with the last chapter review video being so short, chapter 12's video, honestly, I had a hard time getting through that chapter. It was so boring to me. That's just my opinion. It was a short chapter anyway, but yeah, because that video was so short, I wanted to do chapter 13 too. So today we're going to go over chapter 13 of Priscilla Presley's book, Softly as I Leave You. Priscilla says that Lisa Marie and Michael Lockwood had been trying to have a baby for a couple of years and had actually suffered through several miscarriages. So when Lisa found out that she was pregnant with fraternal twins, she kept it a secret until she knew that she could carry the pregnancy to term. Priscilla says that the press was brutal to Lisa, talking about her weight gain and contributing her weight gain to her, quote, unhealthy eating habits. Because remember, they didn't know that she was pregnant. And then when she did announce the pregnancy, Priscilla says there was no apology issued by the press, but it's the press. She says that the pregnancy was exhausting for Lisa and that carrying twins at 40 years old was really difficult on her body. Priscilla points out that twins run in the family. Elvis was a twin and Priscilla's two brothers were twins. But I wonder if, so her twin brothers, Priscilla's, do they run in, from Anne's side of the family? Or, because remember, they didn't have the same father, Priscilla and her brothers, or did they run in Paul's side of the family? On October 7th, 2008, Lisa had called Priscilla and told her she was in labor. So Priscilla met Lisa at the hospital where Lisa told her, "I want you here with me, Mommy." Priscilla said that she was there with Michael Lockwood, Riley, and Ben in the room during the C-section. The first twin, whose birth Priscilla said was a bit tough. She weighed in at 5 pounds 15 ounces. The second twin's birth was a little easier, and she weighed at 5 pounds 2 ounces. One of the baby girls was named Harper Vivian Ann Lockwood. Priscilla says that Anne is in honor of herself, Priscilla, and the second baby was named Finley Aaron Love Lockwood. Aaron and Love are in honor of Elvis and Gladys, respectively. Priscilla said that she realizes that the babies are 19 years younger than Riley, which is the same age gap between between Lisa Marie and Navarone. So Riley's 19 years when the twins were born, and that Lisa Marie was 19 when Navarone was born. Priscilla says that Lisa and Michael Lockwood were doting parents and committed parents, and it was a joy to watch them. The two would take turns with each baby to ensure that they were getting equal bonding time. Priscilla says what was hidden in this joy with the birth of the twins was Lisa's pending addiction. The C-section had been really hard on Lisa, and she was in a lot of pain afterward. The doctors had prescribed Lisa Marie opiates, and by the time she left the hospital, Lisa had become addicted. Priscilla says that Lisa had inherited her father's, quote, vulnerability to opioid addiction. Priscilla says that this would become a years-long battle, and that she had not known about it for a long time. She said that the only difference she could see in Lisa was that Lisa seemed more docile, which Priscilla had just attributed to Lisa being tired because of the babies. She had never considered that Lisa would turn to drugs again, thinking that was left far in the past. A few months after the birth of the twins, Lockwood and Lisa Marie went searching for a residence in England. Priscilla said that she and Lisa Marie loved England because the British people treated them just like regular people and not celebrities. Lisa ended up renting a home in Kent while they were searching for a home that they actually wanted to buy. And Priscilla says that Lisa wanted to live in the countryside so that she could raise the girls and write music, but that in hindsight, Priscilla realizes that she moved to the countryside. The reason she moved to the countryside was to also hide her addiction. When Priscilla and Navarone visited Lisa in England, Priscilla found the house to be eerie, what she calls eerie. It's an old house. And that night, right before she fell asleep, in the room that Lisa had told her was her bedroom, she had heard someone turn the knob on her bedroom door. She thought it was Navarone, so she opened the door and caught a glimpse of something, caught a glimpse of something, but that it happened so fast she didn't know what it was. She wasn't able to identify it. But it wasn't a person. And she said there was no one there. The next day she told everyone what happened, and Lisa told her, and I'm going to quote here, "Yeah, that's the ghost room. It's haunted. We didn't want to tell you. We wanted to see if anything happened." End quote. Priscilla says that's when she learned of all the ghost sightings. The ghost was an old-fashioned figure and is thought to be of someone who used to live there. That night, after walking Priscilla to her bedroom, Navarone went downstairs to get a late-night snack in the kitchen, and the twins' room was right above the kitchen, and over the baby monitor, he heard what sounded to be slow, heavy footsteps through their baby monitor. So he ran up to their room to check up on them, but no one was there. So he was panicked, and he ran to Priscilla's room and burst through the door and crawled into her bed saying, Mom, I heard the ghost." And he slept there that night, and Priscilla said that they were both welcome company to each other. Priscilla said that that's actually not the first time that the family had experiences with the supernatural. So she says the family would vacation in Hawaii every summer, and they usually stayed at the hotel where Lisa Marie got married. The summer that Navarone was 14 years old, Priscilla's travel agent told her a strange tale, what she calls a strange tale. She said there are ponds on the island where rituals were performed during the days of King Kamehameha. I'm so sorry. If I have any viewers from Hawaii, I know I'm butchering this, so I do apologize. King Kamehameha. And for many years, there were stories of unusual sightings. That year, some guests had said that they saw warrior ghosts performing a ritual. And when the guests tried to take pictures of them, the warriors chased them and destroyed all their cameras. Curious about this, Priscilla, her cousin Ivy, Navarone, and Navarone's friend took a stroll down to these ponds late one evening. They were standing around talking, and Priscilla noticed there was a small ring of orange light on the water. Then 4 more lights appeared. Then the circles began emitting what looked like orange gas rising up, and it thickened. The gas thickened into columns, and then images of warriors appeared. She said that one of the warriors stepped forward and rushed towards them. And they turned around, they sped back to the room, and by the time they got back to the hotel, the room, the warrior was gone. She said everyone saw it. Priscilla, Ivy, Navarone's friend, and they were all sober too. She said there was absolutely no explanation for it, and they never went back to the ponds at night again. But she says that wasn't the scariest supernatural experience she had. Priscilla said that she was staying on a beachfront property in Hawaii. She doesn't say what year it was. So she said one night she woke up at about 2 a.m. and she was unable to sleep, so she stepped out onto the sand that was just yards away from her, from the water outside of the property. And while enjoying the sound of the waves, she heard this faint pounding noise. So she looked towards the sound and saw a troop of warriors in full Hawaiian attire marching in formation to the tune of a pounding drum. She had heard stories of these night marchers, the Huaka'i Po. And again, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. The Huaka'i Po. She said the stories have been around for centuries. They are considered dangerous people, and you're warned not to look at their faces as it's considered a sign of disrespect. She said you're to hide and avoid letting them see you. She said the warriors were marching along the waterline, so she hid behind a small tree. But she was so scared, she ended up running back inside the house, and she was trembling and said it was like a nightmare. Priscilla says that Lisa found and purchased a home in England, finally. In the meantime, Navarone had moved out of Priscilla's home. He and his girlfriend had moved to a city called Santa Cruz and found a house, a secluded house in a forest. He had taken his pet snake and a bulldog that Priscilla had rescued that he named Jerry Garcia. Priscilla said that when she went to go visit Navarone, she had found rows of pots in his backyard, marijuana to be exact. But she said she wasn't necessarily surprised. She had to let him make his own choices. She says that by then, Navarone was interested in music, what he called the family business, and that he had tried to find musicians to form a band, but that they always fell through for one reason or another. Then he met a keyboardist named Kyle Hamoud, and it turns out that, coincidentally, they had actually met each other before. It wasn't the first time they met. Years before they had met. Priscilla says when Navarone was 1, they spent the summer in Hawaii where they met Kyle's parents and family and spent some time together there, which is really random. Navarone and Kyle ended up forming a band called Them Guns, a reference to the guns of Navarone. Lisa was also working on her own music in England. She was writing songs. And within 2 years, she was ready to do another album. And that album was called Storm and Grace. Priscilla says that critics agreed that it was the best work of Lisa's career. The title track, called Storm and Grace, is a love song for Benjamin Keogh, Lisa's son. Storm being his middle name for the storm and for the storms she's endured during her life. Grace was for Ben's grace and the grace she was bestowed by having him as her son. She said Lisa poured her whole heart into the album and into promoting it. She toured the U.S. doing promotional events and, excuse me, she went on talk shows even though she was never comfortable appearing on talk shows. She felt that this was the best work she would ever do, and she had high hopes when the 2012 Grammys were announced. But Lisa Marie wasn't nominated, so she was devastated. She said she was done with music, absolutely done with music, with one exception, the duets with her dad. On the 30th anniversary of Elvis's passing, Lisa recorded what Priscilla calls, quote, a haunting version of In the Ghetto. For the 30th anniversary, she recorded I Love You Because, and in 2018, she did Where No One Stands Alone. Priscilla said that she was sad that Lisa no longer recorded albums, but she was grateful that her last song was a tribute to her father. Priscilla says on the Storm and Grace album, there's a song called You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, and it's a protest song about Scientology that announced Lisa's departure from the church. She says Lisa had been investigating rumors about the church for years before the song was released, and Priscilla had no idea of this. She says Lisa had become disillusioned with Scientology and that the last straw for her was when the head of Scientology, David Miscavige, had shunned his father. David had placed his father into a type of Scientology prison at a secluded location in the San Bernardino Mountains. She said Lisa was furious and had confronted David at the Scientology headquarters in Florida. After the confrontation, Lisa called Priscilla and told her what had happened and said that now she was being followed. There were black limos parked outside of her house, and she was seriously frightened. Priscilla says that when Lisa took a stand against the church, it made her reevaluate her own relationship with Scientology. She said that their demands and expectations of Priscilla grew over the years, and both with time dedicated to the church and financially. The ultimate decision for her to leave the church, though, was, she says, her family. She wanted to support Lisa's stance against the church, and that there were her Priscilla's parents as well. Priscilla says that when she had joined the church, members are to disclose their parents' faith, and she disclosed that her parents are faithful Catholics. She says the church feels that any other religion outside of Scientology is a negative influence. When she told the church that her parents were Catholics, the church had encouraged her to, quote, loosen ties with her own family. She said that wasn't going to happen. She just loved them too much. And if she had to choose between family and Scientology, she would choose family. She said she misses Scientology sometimes, though. She misses being part of the community with people like John Travolta. She says that he was actually one of the first people to call her when Lisa passed away. She says she's still friends with John, and she wishes him well, along with, quote, the many good souls who pursue the same ideals I once hoped would help the world, end quote. That does it for chapter 13. Stay tuned for chapter 14, where Priscilla discusses becoming an animal rights advocate. She also discusses her involvement in the creation of an Elvis documentary. See you then.